Couple of years ago, and I wish I could remember the title of the video so I could replay this clip for you guys. I made this prediction several times, but I first said this, I don't know, maybe 18 months ago, and people at the time thought I was crazy. My prediction was over the next 10 or so years, ESPN would no longer exist. Now, even saying that out loud now seems preposterous. How can a network with over 40 years of history, how can a network that generates billions of dollars in revenue eventually just die off and go off the air? Nothing is too big to fail. Not only is ESPN in danger of extinction, I can sit here today and tell you with almost 100% confidence it is going to happen. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen next year, but I don't know, by the year 2030, ESPN will be a dead brand. Now, you're not going to hear any of this from the mainstream media. If anything, the media will continue going out of their way to pretend everything is cucumbers and rainbows at the worldwide leader in woke. But the signs of impending doom are surfacing for ESPN. For starters, rumors began circulating a couple of weeks ago that Disney could be separating itself from ESPN. There's not enough information at the time to know what separating actually means. Maybe they sell ESPN to a big tech company. Maybe they force ESPN into being their own entity outside the Disney umbrella. Now, the first thought that crossed my mind when I heard these rumors was Disney knows the business model of ESPN is not sustainable. This business model is just unsustainable in the current marketplace. I want you to think about something. In the current landscape of entertainment, content is king. You have to create content that captures the attention of the mainstream. Yellowstone, for example. Yellowstone is carrying the Paramount network right now. Ratings for Yellowstone bleed over into other programming on the network. People have been talking for years about the decline of MTV. Why is MTV declining? They don't produce content. It's 24 hours of that bullshit Rob Doofus show ridiculousness. Networks like TBS, TNT, they can survive off reruns of Friends or Everybody Loves Raymond. USA Network airs reruns of SVU every day. Why? Because it draws decent ratings. They own syndication rights to the show. It costs them absolutely nothing to broadcast it. It's basically free money. Think about it. What content does ESPN produce? They produce opinion shows that very few people watch. They produce great documentaries, but that's not enough to sustain a television network 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What content does ESPN produce that draws viewers to the network? The answer is none. Fox News can dominate the top 10 rankings in cable in cable altogether by spending tens of millions of dollars on a weekly basis. But in order for ESPN to dominate the ratings, they've got to spend billions of dollars. To make matters worse, ESPN doesn't own the programming that produces the ratings. Think of ESPN like Blockbuster Video. You guys remember the old Blockbuster video stores? The first 20 years of my life, Blockbuster was a booming business. If you told someone in 1995 in 10 years Blockbuster would be out of business, they would have looked at you like you were crazy. Sure enough, 10 or so years later, you couldn't find a Blockbuster location in America. Why? Because they were essentially the middleman. Stores like Blockbuster were used to get video content direct to consumers who wanted to rent instead of own. With advances in the internet, production companies can now go direct to consumer themselves. Blockbuster no longer needed. Same thing with ESPN. For decades, ESPN was where you had to go if you wanted to watch sports or you wanted to consume sports-related content. But with each passing year, ESPN is becoming less and less relevant, less and less needed. Starting this year, the Big Ten will no longer be broadcast on ESPN. Right now, the two things keeping the network afloat are the college football playoff and the NBA. One of those isn't enough to sustain the network for 12 months, and the other one, ESPN could be at risk of losing it. I'll get into that more in just a second. Last week, The NFL announced they were moving the NFL Sunday ticket package from DirecTV to YouTube. Now the deal's going to cost YouTube $2.3 billion a year, which to a company like Google is pennies on the dollar. But I was surprised to learn ESPN was barely even involved in the negotiations. What? Seriously? The supposed worldwide leader in sports is unwilling to sit at the negotiating table and make an offer to the biggest drawing league in the country? Why? On the surface, it doesn't make any sense. You have a streaming service sinking faster than the Titanic. ESPN Plus is complete garbage. There is nothing offered on the platform to convince people to pay $10, $20 every month to have access to it. NFL Sunday Ticket would have changed all of that. Right now, all ESPN has are the shitty Monday Night Football games. 1 or 2 times a year, there's a marquee game on Monday Night Football. The rest of the games are complete garbage. With Sunday Ticket, ESPN would be given access to every NFL game. So why were they unwilling to spend the money? This is just speculation on my part. I don't think they had the money. ESPN has lost over 25 million subscribers in the last few years. That is a potential revenue loss of $3 billion. Couple that revenue loss with the fact the NBA broadcast rights deals coming up for renewal. The college football playoff is rumored to expand to 12 teams. Both of these will cost ESPN billions of dollars to keep exclusive to the network. The current NBA deal is valued at $2 billion a year. That is expected to double, possibly triple. College football playoff around $500 million. If they expand to 12 teams, I would expect that figure to double. Now, it's tough to figure out exactly how much revenue ESPN generates every year. Most of the sources that I found claimed ESPN generates $11 billion a year. Now, you got to remember, they still have to pay the NFL for Monday Night Football. They have to pay the SEC, UFC. There could be a strong possibility ESPN is not going to be able to afford both the NBA and the college football playoff. They could be faced with the decision to pick between the two. Do you choose the highest rated program on your network that only lasts for about 2 weeks? Or do you choose the NBA, which carries the network through most of the year? While I was researching this video today, another thought crossed my mind. ESPN is committed to the WNBA, right? During the NBA playoffs, there are endless ads hyping up the WNBA regular season. ESPN touts themselves as the exclusive home to WNBA dump diving. Tune into ESPN to watch these ladies dive through garbage, searching for the pot of golden woke wieners. I've always wondered why ESPN spends so much time hyping up a league that no one watches. They will have segments on NBA Today dedicated to the WNBA garbage. It doesn't make sense, but then I got to thinking, could ESPN be overhyping the WNBA to help save the network? I know that is insane to say out loud, but just think about it. The WNBA is cheap programming. ESPN pays less than $30 million a year to broadcast the Dump Olympics. The network is pushing for expansion of the regular season. It cost ESPN essentially nothing to broadcast these games. If the WNBA found a way to draw 1-2 million viewers, ESPN would be rolling in the money. Now, of course, that is never going to happen, but it's just a thought as to why ESPN wants the WNBA to succeed. It also could be why they're pushing so hard for women's college basketball, because I think ESPN knows they are not going to be able to afford the NBA. They cannot afford to pay the NBA $4 billion when the league is drawing 1.5 million viewers. The problem is, without the NBA, there's no reason to watch ESPN. Think back 15, 20 years ago. You had to watch SportsCenter to find out what happened the night before. Today, where do you go for highlights? YouTube, Twitter, basically anywhere but ESPN. No need to sit through an hour-long program, you just find the highlights you want to watch. 15 or 20 years ago, you needed ESPN to learn about trades, free agency, the draft. Don't need them for that anymore. You needed them for opinions. Shows like PTI Around the Horn used to draw massive audiences. Today, most people would rather hear sports opinions from people who are just like them. They want to hear content from people who are relatable. I can't tell you how many times I have been told that this channels similar to mine, have replaced someone's need for ESPN. Like I said in the beginning, ESPN's business model is unsustainable. They used to battle Fox, CBS, NBC for broadcast rights. Today, they are battling multi-billion-dollar tech companies, Apple, Google. ESPN could compete with Fox. They can't compete with Google, especially if Disney pulls out financially. For decades, they've been like the ultimate middleman. They've never owned anything. It was simply a platform for leagues like the NBA to reach the consumer. Eventually, though, the need for the middleman diminishes. Once that happens for ESPN, what are they left with? What are they left with? NBC could stop producing new content today, broadcast nothing but news and reruns, and they would survive. How can ESPN survive? The answer is they can't. And I think Disney knows it, which is exactly why they're rumored to disassociate with the network. If Disney were really committed to the future of ESPN, they would have bought NFL Sunday Ticket in a second. They would not have allowed the Big Ten to walk to CBS. Since when does ESPN lose on broadcast deals in sports? All of the signs of impending doom, impending extinction are there, and it's only going to get worse. Every time someone cuts the cord, ESPN loses revenue. And with each loss of revenue, it makes it harder for ESPN to purchase the rights to the sports that carry the network. ESPN cannot survive off streaming. The revenue's not consistent enough. Let's say for example, the NBA was exclusive to ESPN Plus. Most people would sign up for the app during the playoffs, then abandon it the other 10 months of the year. You see what I'm saying? This is why I say the future of ESPN is bleak, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something here. If you have the answer, I'm all ears. You tell me how ESPN survives the next 8 to 10 years. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, kc_btl84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.